All right, so yeah, we began discussing this conversation, soul conversation, but then thank you. So the bottom line is that there are several segments of this conversation. First, it has with the Rebbe, and each segment, Rebbe will deeper and deeper. This is what I said. I'll check out later. Each segment will deeper and deeper explaining what a chassid is. And so far, we learned this: that a chassid is someone who gives up their own definite benefit for the sake of helping someone else. For example, just like in the Gemara, it says that the chassid would burn his nails rather than bury them, because it would be impossible for the nails to cause any damage to someone once you burn them. And although that will cause damage to himself, as Martin Fisher says, if you put a part of your body, it's not such a blessing for yourself. Nevertheless, a chassid would rather cause a definite damage to himself rather than because the chance that because he buried his nails, they might get uncovered. He's ready to hurt himself for the possible benefit maybe to someone else. So in a similar way, the chassid is a lamplighter. He wants to go and to light up someone else's candle, someone else's shop. Doesn't matter to him if he'll be successful or not be successful. He wants to go and try to light up someone else's shop because he cares about another yid. While he's involved in light up someone else's neshama, he cannot do something. He has to ignore his own benefit. He has to stop thinking about himself and think about someone else. And more, when he tries to help someone else, he may not be successful because the other person has free will. And regarding yourself, Tom tells you, if you try, you're going to be successful. So for yourself, you're for sure be successful. Someone else, it's only a maybe. But a chassid doesn't care. A chassid says, I would rather spend my time maybe helping you, maybe I'm going to help you, rather than doing something for sure that'll benefit you. That's what a chassid. So the Rebbe shall continue and discuss it. The chassid asked people question. People question was, what if we're talking about somebody who is like a desert? He is someone who has no redeeming value, just like a desert is a place where there's no one lives in the desert. So to this person, as a chocolate today. Sorry, the chocolate already.
I didn't say only. Name.
A desert is a place where no one lives. Spiritually, a desert means a place which has no mention. A desert is a place where there is no redeeming value. Just like all the rights in Tanya, there are some people with no virtue whatsoever. You might ask, am I obligated to go and try to make an effort to help someone who I feel that they're so indecent, they're so cold, they're so frigid and insensitive, and they're so unaware of who they are? Why should I go waste my time? That's the chassid asked them. Why should I have to go with the lamps in the desert? Let's go to the desert. Everybody Hashem said you have to go to the desert. And the reason is because the desert will be embarrassed and it's a desert. I'll stop being a desert. The guy will be trying to inspire, he has neshama too. And when his neshama starts to bother his language of the Rebbe, he will be embarrassed at where he is. He's going to make moves. And more, another benefit of inspiring this shul is that people should notice that this isn't a place that you should try to live. People should notice that this guy's behavior leaves much to be desired. If he's going to remain a desert, so then he is like similar to what the Talmud calls a Berushus Rabbin, a pit in a public area. This guy, some people say, I don't want to. So it's important that as the Shema starts, not just for his own benefit, but for the benefit of everyone around him, it's important that the Shama starts to shine in him. Which will, yes, it will cause him to be embarrassed about his spiritual state, and yes, you're obligated to this. But now the Chassid asks the clincher question, which everybody should actually think about before we respond. The question he asked is, we said there's two kinds of wealth, two kinds of poverty, physical wealth and physical poverty, and the ultimate expression, ultimate experience of wealth and poverty is knowledge. So we spoke about someone who's poor in knowledge, poor in sensitivity, this guy who's desert. What if the person is an ocean? Ocean is the opposite. Ocean means someone who's full of data. He's full of knowledge. What do you do about someone who is an ocean? So on page 8 in this PDF, page 136, base text. Yam. What is the ocean? Talmud says about the ocean. Whatever exists in dry land also exists in the ocean. The whole area of the ocean is full of water. The Tanakh wants to give an example of something which is full, like when Mashiach will come. It says the world will be full of knowledge of Hashem. What's the language the Talmud employs to describe how the world will be full of knowledge of Hashem? It says it will be as full as water covers the ocean bed. Because the water covers the entire area of the ocean bed. That means if there is in the ocean any place which is empty, any place which is missing the space, the water will move there and it will fill up that place which is that vacuum, that empty space will not remain empty in the ocean. The ocean will fill that space with water. Unlike in dry land, you could have a tall mountain next to an empty space, next to a valley. Just because there's a tall mountain doesn't mean that next to the mountain is going to be that one space does not affect the other. Anyways, what is in our life? The Talmud says there's the waters of the Torah. So what does it mean that you're full of water? It means the Torah you learn fills your entire being. It's not that the Torah remains on the shelf, rather the Torah fills your whole being. So you say, whole existence is full of Torah, and you are the ultimate tycoon in knowledge. You are the richest that can be in knowledge. Possibly full of Torah, and yet you have no reverence for Hashem. You're full of Torah, but you have no sensitivity to Hashem's presence. More as I say the Dvarim, Ma'atech, as I say the Moed, the Chayes, as I say the Hashem, Yeshua, as I say the Zik, and the Chacham, as I say the Kachim, that the Chacham, as I say the Chacham, as I say the Kachim, as I say that's the Taris, the Lachir, as I makes it. Gemara brings a verse and explains how each segment of the verse refers to another area of thought. And the end of the verse is the treasury of Hashem is fear of Hashem, which means that even if you have all of the knowledge of all 6 sections of the Talmud, you know them perfectly, the entire Talmud, you know your fingertips by heart. Fingertips by heart, you know everything in Talmud, you can tell everyone what page everything is on. If you're full of the entire oral Torah, which the oral Torah has it written there. As the Talmud says that you can find, there's nothing in the Talmud which doesn't have a hint to it in the Torah. You're full of the written Torah, you're full of the oral Torah. Nevertheless, nevertheless, it could be you do not have any reverence for Hashem. You don't have that treasure house of Hashem. Yes, it's full of Torah. I will do Torah, but it's a dark thing. It's Torah, but it's a dark thing. Torah itself is not damaged because Torah is dark. So if you're learning Torah and your Torah for you is dark, it doesn't hurt the Torah. There's constantly things like H says in the Torah about itself. Hashem says, "My words are like fire. My Asian couple do not just like fire, not become impure. So do the words of Torah not become impure." However, that's regarding the Torah itself. Regarding you who study the Torah, when you have a merit, Talmud says the Torah becomes for you an elixir of life. When you don't have a merit, the Torah becomes the opposite, it becomes a poison. Even after you become rich in your knowledge of Torah, you have the same obnoxiousness that you had before you studied it. I've actually used the expression once about Gasas Haruach. Gasas Haruach is an expression that means arrogance. That means Gasas Haruach also means that your ruchni is discussed, that your spirituality is coarse. That's what happened. This gentleman was full of Torah, the Torah is full of poison. Everybody says that he's the same way he was before, but the language of the Talmud is Torah is poison. It's possible to be worse, not just you're the same as you were before. There's actually, God's a lead for the fire of arrogance, because the more you learn, the more good you feel like, the more you feel proud. We should write out more. Man, the master how I live boys, and they were saying that you should pay them, and actually love is saying that you should pay them, but they question this, and must have all people that they're there. And the previous rabbi mentioned in the Maimer, he said, you base Tammuz, David Melech said, Hashem is with me among those who help me, and I will see the downfall of my enemies. So it says that among the enemies of David Melech were Doeg and Achitev. Doeg and Achitev were people looking at them on the outside, they were very, very pious people. Everything they did was according to the rules of Torah. Although their learning of Torah was wondrous. The previous sermon mentions, I think it said over there, that they were out in the field. And Talmud says all the scholars compared to them like rats, like low compared to them now. So nevertheless, despite the fact that they knew so much Torah, all their Torah was external. They had no reverence for Hashem. The Torah didn't help them, the contrary, the Torah damaged them. Here's the question the Chassid asked in Parashah. Kate, that shall have a conscience by Yom, she used by you, Tikkun B'Rashah, Shatir, Shiyot, and Right. That's it. How are you supposed to kindle the lamp that's in the ocean when the sky does not have? How are you supposed to give this guy reverence for Hashem? How are you supposed to give the treasure house of Hashem? How are you supposed to all of a sudden lighten the Neshama so he feels Hashem's presence when he knows the whole Talmud didn't help? What are you going to tell him if he doesn't know? He already knows the entire Talmud. There's nothing he's going to tell him he doesn't know. The Torah has contributed to his issues, and what are you going to do? So what is that? Respond to him. Let's go. Mine was about on page 9. Tarach solution, which the Amdad Rashab says, take off your clothing and jump in the ocean. If you're going to go approach and explain this thing with the garments of your soul, with the garments of the soul, meaning your action, your words, or your thoughts. I recommend them. If you're going to try to reach out to him by doing something for him, by saying something to him, by thinking something in his, trying to think in his merit, something that's referring to. Or maybe there was referring to trying to impact something in him, trying to change the way he speaks, change the way he thinks, change the way he does things. If that's all you're going to do, you're not going to be able to reach him. If you're going to reach his garments, or you use your garments, I'm sorry, that was talking about your own garments. That's to take off your clothing from the ocean. Yeah. So you cannot reach him with you're going to think. Elsewhere, Chassidus says, when you think good about the other person, helps them. Stop for the person, helps them. You speak to the person, words that come from the heart, it helps. It seems that you can reach a person with your thought, with your words, you'll do something you're speaking for him, but you're not going to be able to reach him. Why not? The guy's in the ocean and he's insensitive, it doesn't help him. The only thing solution is that Hashiyashin attacks him, even so. You take off your clothes, jump in the ocean, that means considered nefesh. That means to have sacrifice. As I eat all along, everything, the etzim Hashem. When you take off your clothing and you employ your dedication to Hashem beyond limitation, then you'll reach him. You'll reach him not with your thoughts, speech, and action. You're going to reach him with the essence and depth of your Hashem, which is not only the essence of your Hashem is not only beyond thought, speech, and action, it's also beyond all logic. Your essence can reach the other person's essence. With your essence, to touch that. With your words, you're not going to touch that. With your garments, not going to touch that. With your actions, not touch that. With the essence of your neshama, you reach that. This is true. So it's very simple. Ben Teresh, a Torah scholar who did not have the merit in his Torah study makes him more pure and refined. The opposite, his Torah study makes him more forced. When you approach him, start arguing with him logically. You're not going to reach him, not going to accomplish anything. He already has seichel, he has intelligence before, he knows there. The Arvel became, despite the fact he knows there, the insufficiency, or whatever reason it may be, the Paul of the Torah is no effective. When you try to take it because of the depth of your love, every Jew has for another Jew. Word of the time you press down the page, it says in chapter 2 32 time, all have one father and have supposed to one like it says in the Torah, you're all children of God. And therefore we all have one father. And what you're trying to reach is the godliness in the neshama. In your own neshama. And with the godliness in your neshama. You're going to reach the godliness in the other person's neshama. Then then you're going to reach the lamp which is in the ocean. Okay. So how are you going to reach him? Not with what you're going to say, the brilliant thing, brilliant argument, the brilliant technique you're going to do that will somehow touch them. You're not going to reach them. There's only one solution. The solution is no chachmas, no intelligence. The solution is love. You have to love this person because of that. Love of your neshama for every Jew and reach that the Balshanti's father called Balshanti, that every situation may be in, whatever it may be, the love and the fire of your heart, depth of your neshama. That's the only way to reach. He's a Yuvan. Now we understand another part of the story. Whenever Hashem said, when you're talking about lighting the lamp in the desert, everyone will notice the lamp is in the desert. Everyone will notice that the desert is there. The desert will be embarrassed. It's the desert. Everyone does not say about the ocean that the ocean will notice it, that people will notice it's an ocean. The young is biased in front of the ocean, be embarrassed to be an ocean in front of the lamp. He didn't say that about the ocean, only said that about the desert. Why? Because when you affect someone who is in an ocean-like state, who's full of terror, then he should suddenly feel reverence for Hashem. So then his ocean becomes a good thing. His ocean becomes an ocean of holiness. His ocean of terror, which is before a dark terror, now his ocean will be an ocean of holiness. There's no reason for him to be embarrassed about the Torah that he has, because all of those words of Torah will now be alive. All those pages of Gemara will now be leavened with a sense of connection to Hashem. The author writes in the laws of the Torah study that all the Torah mitzvahs a person does while they are wicked, although temporarily, they're adding energy to the opposite side of holiness. Temporarily. Nevertheless, when you do tshuva, you extract from the opposite of holiness all the Torah and all the mitzvahs you did. They all are returned to the side of holiness. Okay, there's one more part of the story. Now, after this response regarding to the lamp which is in the ocean, Rabbi Rashab was then asked him again by this chassid. He asked Rabbi Rashab, is this a chassid? And whatever Rashab responded after thinking about it, yes, it's a fuss. Doesn't make sense. Since the guy had already asked what a fuss it is, and he was told that a fuss is a lamplighter, and the lamp lights also the lamp which is in the desert and in the ocean. Why did he ask again if that's what a fuss is? He was already told, everybody's already answered. Not only the chassid asked this question, but as the previous Rebbe emphasizes, the Rebbe Rashab also had to think it over. He also wasn't sure, so to speak. He had to think it over too. So it doesn't make sense. If the Rebbe Rashab didn't know, he would have to think about it before he answered. And how do we have to think about it again? Why? What did the chassid not know? What did the Rebbe have to think over? The answer is, regarding the ocean, there's a unique difficulty. When you have to light the candle of God, the soul of man, in most Jews, even though there's a doubt whether he'd be successful or not, since we're talking about a Jew, and it says about every Jew that the neshama is awake, the neshama may although the person is asleep, as in the Song of the Psalms, I am asleep, my heart is awake to God, heart is there, heart is awake to mitzvahs. So for sure, the doubt can be resolved. We're good, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this because this guy's heart is awake as neshama. When you meet a Jew who is completely saturated with Torah, he is full of Torah, like water covers the ocean bed. He has all, and he has all 6 sections on the down pat, and nevertheless, the Torah has had no effect on him whatsoever, to the extent that he has no connection at all, any reverence for Hashem. So then, chassid feels that's a really hard job. And there's a doubt whether I'm successful in it. It's true, it says in the Torah, that if someone, that Hashem says that the luminary of Torah will return a person to the truth. When you study Torah, even if you study Torah for the wrong reason, Torah will guard you. It says in the Talmud, Hashem says, I wish you would lead me, Hashem said, and keep my Torah. Hashem said, I wish you would not, even if you don't pay attention to me, you learn Torah not conscious of the giver of the Torah. At least if you keep my Torah, the Torah has a luminary in it. The luminary Torah will bring you back. But that could happen in the next incarnation. So why should I try to help this guy when another guy in the next incarnation will work with him? Nevertheless, the chassid is told he has to do this. If we're talking about someone's life being in danger, the halacha is there's no difference, no distinction when someone's life is in danger, whether the doubt that they may be able to be helped is a probable doubt, that's probably be able to help them, or it's probably you won't be able to help them. Even if it's a doubt of a doubt, even if there are 1,000 doubts, if someone's life is in danger, the halacha is under a mountain, and there's a very, very small chance you will save their life. The halacha is you still have to do whatever you can to save their life, maybe their life. But it's not a simple thing to do. You have to know how to approach this truth. As you said earlier, you have to take off the clothes, which is really hard. And you need to really have a special meditation to reach a situation you're able to take off your clothes. In order to touch the other person's inside in a way that their inside should not be covered by the garments of their soul. You have to do that yourself, and you have to reach that other person, and you have to jump in the ocean having serious nefesh. Only then can you light up the lamp in the other person's in the ocean. Only when you take off your clothes and you really, really care and try to reach your depth and the core of yourself. Only then can you possibly reach them. So it's very hard. That's why the chassid had this question. And that's why the Rosh Hashanah think it over. Now we understand the conclusion of the conversation. Can I grab the guy by his throat? What was his question? Grab the guy by his throat. Since from the first being demanded that he should have sacrifice, he has to jump in the ocean. We might think, okay, I'm having sacrifice, so I could also reach out to the person in an unconventional way. I could also grab by his throat. If I have a serious nefesh, let him have a serious nefesh. Let me tell him exactly where this is coming from and how the mistakes are. We force in an unpleasant way that he should actually pay attention. That's what the person may think. This is the response to the Rebbe Rashab. No. The serious nefesh sacrifice regarding yourself, not regarding the other person. You could grab him by his lapel. That means even regarding clothing, the lapel is a more external garment. But you cannot touch the body of the person. How much more so can you not touch it? This is a message. Every Jew must give to his friend from this for bringing the Rebbe Rashab. Their previous ever had when relating the story of the Fasa and the Rebbe Rashab. You have to share it as follows. And the previous ever had sacrificed for this. You have to remember what a Fasa is. The language of the Rebbe. This is not meant to be for a certain segment of the Jewish people. The end is all the Jewish people will be able, will accept sinners as their portion inheritance. So the role of a chassid is the role of every Jew. Every Jew, all Jews will learn this. All Jews will accept this as their inheritance. So when we say a chassid, we mean everybody. So every chassid, every Jew has to be a lamplighter, light up in the lamps of the Jews around him. And even those Jews around him were like a desert, even those Jews around him were like an ocean, and do this in a pleasant way, and in a positive way, and in this manner you fulfill your role. What's the role of a person in this world? That's the problem. I was created but to serve my master, to be a lamplighter. When the language of everybody shall be a candle to the light, to light up the darkness of the world, that this physical coarse world will become a home for Hashem.
We have to become a Lamplighter.
Yeah. And
How do you do this? Just